Hello and welcome back to the Shutter Sports Refresh. It's the weekly show that gives you all the big sports news and hopefully makes your day just a little bit better. I'm your host, Lucky Roberts, and we're in peak sports season with a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. We're going to move away from our usual pattern to start up this episode and talk about basketball instead of baseball. The WNBA Finals have officially concluded with an absolutely legendary series. The series between the Minnesota Lynx and the New York Liberty, and if you remember that from last week, was tied 1-1. Well, it ended up going to all 5 games, and just about all of them were thrillers. As we know from last week, it was one of Minnesota's Courtney Williams who hit a 4-point play to force overtime and eventually win the game. While Game 2 was a blowout for the Liberty, Game 3 also ended up coming down right to the wire. With the clock winding down and the game tied, the Liberty Sabrina Ionescu, who hit a ridiculous step-back 3 from almost the logo to win the game. What a shot. In Game 4, it was Ionescu again with a chance to win it for the Liberty, but she misses a tough 3, and the Lynx tied the series 2-2. In Game 5, the winner would take home the championship. In epic fashion, this game also went into overtime, and Minnesota went cold at the wrong time, which means your 2024 WNBA champions are the New York Liberty, with the Finals MVP, the Liberty's Jonquel Jones, who stepped up big time in Game 5 to help secure the championship. Congratulations to both Jones, the Liberty, and the city of New York. About the legendary WNBA series, now let's talk about some legendary MLB series that have been happening in baseball. The conference series or semifinals, if you're not familiar, are all finished up, and we officially moved on to the World Series, or the finals. Coming from the National League, we have the LA Dodgers. They took down the New York Mets in 6 games, led by their superstar, Shohei Ohtani, who we've talked about before as being an MVP favorite. Now, he's usually a favorite because of his two-way skill. He can pitch really well, and he can smash the ball. He's only been hitting this year, and he's still an MVP favorite. That's how dominant he is, and he'll be even more dominant next year. They also have the Dodgers, a superstar in Mookie Betts, who can play just about anywhere in the outfield and anywhere in the infield. Just really impressive players who can play all over the place and have led them to the World Series. In the American League, it's the New York Yankees. After making easy work of the Cleveland Guardians in 5 games, the Yankees are on a hot streak. They also have a ton of superstar power as well. Aaron Judge as well, who's also an MVP possibility, has been the top player in the league for a while and looks to stay that way. They also have Juan Soto, another player who can rake up the home runs and also has a really good eye. The Dodgers and Yankees, 2 of the biggest teams in the MLB, 2 of the biggest franchises historically, so lots of fans are going to be turning out into this World Series. The first game of the World Series starts on Friday, so tune in next week and we'll let you know what went down. Moving to the NFL now, there was once again not too many exciting games this week, a lot of blowouts, including the Washington Commanders ripping into the Carolina Panthers 40-7. The Panthers have had a really rough year, and the Commanders just did not help that, even though their star player, Jaden Daniels, star rookie, got injured in this one, injuring his rib. Hopefully he'll be fine. Marcus Mariota led them to the win. 2 games were close though, and we'll break them down for you. The first was a close one between the Houston Texans and the Green Bay Packers. With just 1 second left, the new signee for the Packers, Brandon McManus, slammed home a 45-yarder to win it for the Green Bay Packers over a really good Houston Texans team with C.J. Stroud leading them. The final score was 24-22, and some more excitement came from the game between the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. 2 of the best teams in football. With 6 minutes left, the Lions fumbled the ball, and Minnesota came running down the field and scored a touchdown right off of the turnover to lead them in the game, 29-28. There were a couple of attempts from both teams. The Lions end up in field goal range after a catch from their receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown. The field goal is made, and Minnesota doesn't have enough time, meaning the Detroit Lions give Minnesota Vikings their first loss on the season in striking fashion, 31-29. Moving over to some college football now, where the big game of the week was between number 2 seed Georgia and number 5 seed Texas. Despite the Texas Longhorns having a ridiculously passionate fans, Georgia still took the game home with ease, 30-15. There's just now 2 months until the college football playoffs start, so it's almost time to get excited. I'm already excited, as you can tell. European football is back this week, and all 5 leagues had match days. The biggest upset in the Premier League came from number 3 ranked in the standings, Arsenal, who lost to number 10 in the rankings, Bournemouth. Arsenal's William Saliba received a red card in the game, which likely had an impact on their play. Liverpool had stayed atop the standings this week, but Man City is still sneaking up behind them in second, as they always do. Atop the Spanish La Liga is 2 powerhouses as usual once again, Barcelona, Real Madrid. Tied for the top spot in the Bundesliga is Bayern Munich and Leipzig, who have been battling out for a couple of weeks now. In the French Ligue 1, it's PSG as always, but they're almost losing their top spot to Monaco, who's giving them a bit of a run for their money, who've been dominant. In the Italian Serie A, it's Inter, Napoli, Juventus, all atop the league. It's really a three-horse race for them. None of those teams have lost in a month. The Champions League has its match days on Tuesday and Wednesday, so if you're looking to find out how that went, make sure to tune in next week and we'll give you all the news. The NBA preseason is over, which means regular season basketball is back in action soon. The first game tips off tomorrow, so again, tune in next week for that news. And for our last bit of news here, the United States Grand Prix went down in F1 yesterday. The winner ended up being Ferrari's Charles Leclerc, who's been bumped up to third in the drivers' rankings with just 3 wins on the season already. Verstappen is atop those driver standings now after a third place finish, but Lando Norris's team, McLaren, is still number 1 in the constructor standings. Next race is the Mexican Grand Prix on the 27th, so we'll let you know how that goes next week. And that's it for this action-packed episode of the Shutter Sports Refresh. I've been your host, Lucky Roberts, and you can check me out and Shutter Sports Media on Instagram down below. Writer for this episode is Finn Noel. Thank you, Finn. A very well-written episode. I appreciate that. You can check him out down there as well. I hope you're able to make your day just a little bit better, and thank you.